will bring the violets of May. Tears are in vain, so honey, please don't be that way. As long as we sing.
Hi Varna community. So this is a video that I've been saying that I'm going to make now for a long time, and I don't know, now seems to be a right time. Something's just happened. Mildly spooky. I'm not the type of person that says things like, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences, but it's not the type of thing that I say. If I did, I would say it. However, let me explain. So this video is, at the end I'm going to show you the record that I own, that I've recently acquired, that is by far the best sounding piece of vinyl that I own. It sounds better than I knew that vinyl could sound, which is saying something, because I've got a few records, but I've never heard anything sound quite as good as this particular one. The reason why I'm playing this is because it sort of leads up to the story a little bit of how I came across it. Now, I bought this one, I don't know, a couple of months ago. I think I showed it together with a Little Richard record that I bought. The Little Richard record was an original pressing, a UK pressing of his first album, and I bought it in a shop that was selling, was it 3 records for £2? So it was really only the Little Richard one that I wanted, but I was forced to take 2 more, and I grabbed this one purely because there were names that I recognised. Of course, they were filthy dirty. All of the records have got a fair amount of sort of, they're very old records, so they've got a fair amount of crackles and pops, but I managed to clean this one up particularly, and it's not too bad, considering its age. And that day, on the Sunday I think, or no, Saturday, but it would have been Sunday when I cleaned it and played it, I put it on just to see how it sounded, and I left it on, and then I just, I don't know, I got distracted and did something else, so it played, and at the end my wife said, oh, that was really nice, put it on again. So I came in, turned it over, played the other side, and even my kids started kind of mellowing out, not listening to it, but just, stopped making a noise, and they just started engaging in something quietly. And I noticed that it really did change the ambience in the room where I played it, and that ambience seemed to flow out further into the house. So I played it a few more times actually that afternoon, and it really did, it created such an aura of tranquility. It made a Sunday afternoon feel like a Sunday afternoon, which was really quite a special experience. And I think around about that time the penny dropped for me. Aha, I had an epiphany. Maybe that's what I haven't been doing with jazz until now. I've never really kind of got jazz, and it's quite a large field. I don't know much about it, and so I guess I've always held it at arm's length. But this made me feel, well, maybe I've been listening to it incorrectly. Maybe, you apply a different kind of technique to consuming this music that you would, for instance, with rock and pop. So that was sort of the start. Now, the next day or two, I went into town and came across another Ella Fitzgerald record. This was in Oxfam shop. It's a double record compilation. It's Ella Fitzgerald sings the Cole Porter Songbook, and yeah, this is actually quite a relatively new pressing, so it's much cleaner and it sounds very nice. Now, here's another one which I found of Ella Fitzgerald. I found this a little bit more recently. This is exquisite. It's such a beautiful sound. No surface noise or anything like that, and it's lovely. Now this video isn't about Ella Fitzgerald. It's basically just me having this sort of new understanding or new feeling for jazz. Anyway, so the next day after that, I went into town, and I like to cruise the charity shops that we have here in the UK. And all of a sudden I was looking at a lot of these records with new eyes. Before I would never even think about picking up a jazz record or anything related to jazz. But this time I took a chance, and it just so happened I stumbled upon this record. And this is lovely condition. It says Frank Sinatra, Songs for Swinging Lovers. Beautiful condition. Cost me £1. It's on Capitol. There we go. And I don't know if you'd say this was strictly jazz. I don't really know, but it's in that direction anyway. And along with this record was another one which I picked up. I don't like this one quite as much, but it's kind of apt. This is Bing Crosby and Louis Armstrong. This I picked that up at the same time as this. That was it. I mean, again, this is a lovely condition record. It's not quite as nice as this one, but I grabbed it anyway. Now, this is where I come to my best sounding record. The third record that I picked up on that occasion in that shop was this. Hello Herbie. So this is the Oscar Peterson Trio with this guitar player, Herb Ellis. Yeah, so this one and the other two, they cost me £1 each. And I didn't really know much about what I was buying, but I brought them home and played it. Really enjoyed the Frank Sinatra one. Very happy to have that indeed. The other one, and it's fun, but yeah, perhaps not the best record I've ever found. And then I put on this one, and it blew me away. Now, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Chris at Dixieland Farm has been making these, he made a series, didn't he, about, I can't remember what he called it now, getting the best out of your stereo, speaker placement, that kind of stuff. And they were interesting videos, and some of the tips that he gave certainly are things that I've employed to make my stereo sound better. But I've kind of realised now, with finding this record, that there's another component to making your stereo sound better. Or there's another component that makes your stereo sound better, and that is the recording of the thing that you're listening to. I think Chris spoke, if I'm right, I might be wrong, but I think in his latter video he spoke about the difference between stereo and true stereo. Now, forgive me if I've got this wrong, but I think what he said was that stereo basically is mono recordings fed into different channels in the mixing, whereas true stereo is stereo from a mic placed, a stereo mic placed within an environment. I think that's what you meant, Chris. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you meant. I can only assume that that was the way this album was recorded. I'll tell you why. When you put it on, you play it, and I'll do a needle drop of this in a while, but it won't, obviously it's not going to come through YouTube. It won't work like that. When you put it on, the 3D effect is so astounding, it's so out there. I put it on the first time and I was forced to turn around and look behind me because I really felt that something was going on behind me. Nothing there. And for the next few minutes I kept on doing that. I was thinking someone's coming in the door there or something like that. And it worked out eventually, no, it's the record. So these guys, they were new to me at the time. There's this guy here playing double bass. I think it's him that you can hear sort of humming along as he plays. You know, like the kind of thing like that. Now you can hear his lips are right here. He's standing over here, whatever. You can hear the bass, but you can hear him sort of right here. Spooky. It's yeah. I've never heard a vinyl sound like this. The only record that I can think that comes close, and it still doesn't really come that close, is Jimi Hendrix on the Electric Ladyland, the long Voodoo Child track. It's like a 15-minute long blues type thing. Because I think that's recorded in a similar way. That's recorded live in the studio, I understand. And yeah, that's got quite like a round stereo feel that fills the room. But this was just amazing, and I've listened to it so much. So apart from that, it's a really, really good record. I've never thought I'd say that, but this jazz record is, I really enjoy it. And the quality of the sound of it probably is the thing that drew me to it and got me past that kind of, what do you call it? Tröska, Swedish, I can't think what it is. I'm trying to say, but I'll write it here. So that's why I wanted to share and show everybody. I'm going to put the catalogue number here so you can see it and check it out, and maybe someone might even want to try and get it. I would say this, I'd like to hear from anybody that has records that sound particularly better than any other records that they have. Because this is a whole new experience for me, and I want to explore that. I've got some of the new Steven Wilson things, you know, that he makes, like his own studio albums and stuff that he's sort of produced for other like progressive rock bands. Obviously he's cutting edge, he uses cutting edge techniques and recording gear and stuff, but even they don't really come close to the quality of sounds that I got from this record. So there you go, folks. That's what I was going to say. I think there was something else I was going to say, but I can't think what it was. I'll come back to you in a minute. So I remember what it was I was going to say now. Okay. Yeah. So just before I kind of decided to make this video, I went and checked on YouTube, because you know the strange thing about Ella Fitzgerald is, without being rude, she doesn't look like she sounds. And I wondered, you know, is that just because I see old pictures of her, but really what I'm hearing are sort of like the young woman? And I found no, actually, she just has that voice, a very sort of crystal clear, beautiful toned voice, and she's quite a large lady, obviously African American. But she didn't, in my view, she didn't sound like that. She sounded almost like a very petite little white lady. I don't know if that was her technique. Anyway, so I'm digressing. The point is, while I was looking at this video of her singing live, thinking, oh wow, she really does sound like that and she looks like this, I took a look at some of the text underneath. I'll include a link to the video that I looked at. And who should be in her band but this guy, Herbie Ellis, or Herb Ellis, and also this guy, Oscar Peterson. I feel like I want to call him Oscar Peterson because it's such a Swedish sounding name, but I don't think he was Swedish. I'd be surprised if he was. So Oscar Peterson. They were in her band while she was performing, and that's so spooky because until now I'd never have put those people together in one single event. Yeah, strange coincidence. Anyway, so since I've kind of started listening to jazz a little bit, I dug through my records. I've got a shelf of records down there. You can't see it. It's where I put all the stuff that I don't normally have on the go most of the time. Like I've got 1 or 2 classical records there. I've got my Christmas records there. My wife's records are there because she never ever plays them. And what else? You know, all the odds and ends, things like that. And 1 or 2 little jazz records which I've collected over the time, with the idea that maybe one day I'll come to enjoy those. So I've been pulling them out and experimenting with them, and yeah, I think that I've cracked the key. I've cracked the idea of how I can listen to jazz and how I need to interact with it. That's quite a fun one. Modern Jazz Hall of Fame. I haven't really quite learned to appreciate this guy Dizzy Gillespie yet. He seems kind of manic to me, and maybe that's an acquired taste, I don't know, but maybe I'll get there eventually. This was particularly nice. First place, J.J. Johnson. And then particularly this one. Now this is a Blue Note album. The record cover's pretty poor shape. It's almost falling to pieces. Oh, see? But it's a double album. And it's got, it's called The Jazz Crusaders. Wilton Felder, Wayne Henderson, Joe Sample, and Stix Hooper on drums. I really like this. It's actually quite good. They all seem to have that effect, you know, changing the ambience in the room. Whether that's intended, I don't know, but that's the way I'm kind of picking up on this and quite enjoying it. And of course, you may have seen my video that came just before this one about my VCLT that I got from James Griffiths, sending me some jazz records too. So slowly my jazz collection is starting to develop, and that's good. Alright, well, that's the video out of the way. Thanks. I've been putting this off and putting it off, and now I kind of had this urge to do it today. So hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you have any records that just, you know, sound so much more remarkably better than anything else that you have in your collection, because I'd like to kind of listen out to those things. Thanks very much, everybody. Look out for my next video. Bye.